If you like to talk about combat sports and you want to join the discussion, click the subscribe button below and the bell notification icon next to it and join Knucklehead Nation. Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, thank you so much for joining me today. We're just going to get right into it. I've got a really special guest on the line. He's a legend in the fight game, and he's definitely the best cut man to ever do it. He is none other than Jacob "Stitch" Duran. Mr. Duran, how are you today, sir?
What's up, my man? Just kind of hanging out with you, so it's always good to hang out with good buddies, man. So how you doing?
I'm good, Stitch. Thank you so much for joining us, man. It means a lot. I grew up watching fights, and I feel like almost every major fight I've ever watched, I've seen you in the corner somewhere, working as a cut man. But let's take it back a little bit, Stitch, because the way I met you was through Dan Bam Bam Stell, who told me that you actually trained him. I mean, this is a kickboxing legend who told me that you trained him. How did you kind of get into the fight game for the people that don't know, Stitch?
Yeah, Bam. Number one, definitely one of the champs that I had as when I had my school of kickboxing. But all this goes back to 1974. I was in the Air Force from 72 to 76, and in 1974, I was a young kid. Right, they sent me to a place called Thailand, and I always told myself if I ever got stationed in the Orient, this during the Vietnam War, that I wanted to take up a martial arts. So I got to Thailand and had friends that were already stationed there, and they invited me downtown to see some Muay Thai. I didn't know what Muay Thai was, and saw my first knockout, and that kind of gave me the incentive to go out there and give it a shot. So on the base, the following Monday, I joined the base. I went to the base, the gym, and for the GIs, they had Taekwondo. Well, Taekwondo is Korean, but Taekwondo Thailand sounds the same to me. So I did that for about 3 months and got real good at it. And then the Koreans kind of left and the Thais took over, and they kind of transitioned us with Taekwondo and Muay Thai together. And that's how I got started and got back to the States, and I got into boxing, and then I opened up a school of kickboxing. But that's how I knew Bam Bam, Danny Stell. He was a great young fighter, very aggressive. And, we worked together. That's when Scott Coker, that's the president of Bellator, that's when he used to promote fights, and Bam used to fight for him, and he used to fight for other guys. And then, I lost contact with Bam, and I moved to Las Vegas. I've been here like 26 years, and I'm working with a past legend, Livingstone Rawhide Bramble. His claim to fame is he was the IBF lightweight champion. Excuse me. He beat Boom Boom Mancini for the world title. So we went to San Rafael, and we fought one of the local fighters there. Bam Bam was a referee, so he got to referee one of my fights, the championship fight. So he's come a long ways.
How long had it been since you'd seen Bam Bam?
Well, when I hadn't seen him since, when I left Fairfield, I went. I've been like in Las Vegas 26 years. It was probably 10 years after that I was working with Livingstone Bramble, and Bam Bam was a referee. And then I'd seen him after that now at other events. He made it to the top, so I'm proud of him.
I mean, as you should be. He told me you were his kicking coach, which is, that's very interesting. So you left California for Las Vegas. I heard, this information could be wrong. You can confirm it for me. I heard that, you decided that you wanted to be a cut man, and you told people, I'm going to be the best cut man there is. And I also heard that when people heard you say that, they were like, no way, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, shit happens, bro. I always had that dream. I was a good trainer. I was a very good trainer, you're right. And worked with a lot of good fighters, Dennis Alexio and Bam Bam, of course, Chai Smith and Mike Duran, and just a lot of good world champions that came out of IKF and ISK and all that. But I love being a cut man, and that kind of floated to the top. And I put in a job transfer with my company, RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company, to move to Vegas. And I'm telling people, shit, here's my line. I told everybody, look, man, I'm going to the top. I'm taking a bus I'm taking a bus. You want to get on the bus with me? Get on the bus, man, because I'm going with or without you, right? So nobody ever did, but I made the move to Vegas, and I did it. And Scott Coker always made mention, like I say, I've known Scott for many, many, many years. Same with Bam. And Scott used to say, Stitch used to say that he was so good as a cup man that he could stop a woman's period. Right? That was the old thing. And I kind of forgot about that, but Scott Coker brought that up to me, and I thought it was hilarious, And so that was the thing in those days that was going around. But yeah, I had my dream to be a cup man, and I followed my dreams, and that's why I tell people, follow your dreams because they do come true.
That's so incredible, Stitch, because you really niched down. I mean, not everybody wants to be a cut man. That's something that's such a niche, little thing to do. And you decided that this was it for you, and you're the best in the world now. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Um, what made you pick Cutman? Like, what was it that made you want to be that?
I was good at it, number one.
Yeah.
But no, you know what? Just that's a good question. But just the drive, that knowing that for you it's one on one. Just like when a fighter goes out to fight, no matter whether he has a team with him or what have you, not the fighter's still fighting by himself. With the same token, with me working on a cut or working some swelling, is that I know that the job that I'm doing is going to either make it or break it for the fighter, and that just kind of floated to the top, and I liked it. And when I moved to Las Vegas, I didn't come to be a trainer because I thought all the great trainers in the world were in Las Vegas. Yeah, it's the boxing capital of the world. But when I got here, I was looking at these guys, and then I'm telling myself, yeah, I could do what he does, and I could do what this guy does, and so on. And so I started doing pads for fighters, and I always had a job. That's why I couldn't be a full-time trainer. I worked for RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company from 8 to 5, Monday through Fridays, right? And but they would hire me to do pads. I did pads for Francois Bolta when he fought Mike Tyson. I worked with Johnny Tapia and Raul Marcus, but I would do that in between working cuts. But working cuts just kind of floated to the top. That became my passion.
A lot of people don't know that you had this training background. I feel like a lot of more casual fans just see you as a cut man. When was it that you first had that experience where you had to stop a cut and you were like, oh man, this is for me. This is what I got to do.
Yeah, well, it started in the days when I was working with the kickboxers, but I guess I could tie it in with how I ended up getting my name Stitch also, right? So I was learning to be a cut man when I had my school in Fairfield, and I was working with Dennis Alexio, and Dave Rooney was the sparring partner for Dennis Alexio. And Dennis fought the main event at the Vallejo Fairgrounds, and Dave Rooney was on the undercard. So I'm learning to be a cut man, doing the best I can. But Dave Rooney ends up with a small cut, ends up with a cut. And what I know now about cuts, it was a small cut. But nonetheless, I just didn't have no medications or nothing. But I guess instincts told me just to apply direct pressure, and I did. And he put Vaseline, and he ended up winning the fight. And at the end of the fight, I saw that the old cutman, because in those days, still now, there's no schools to teach you what to do. But I saw that they used to get 2 pieces of tape and cut them in little pieces like that, and then make butterflies. So I did that to Dave Rooney, and he says, "Oh, Stitch, or Jacob, you pay me some stitches, I'm going to call you Stitch." And that's where the name came from. But during that era is when I was learning to be a cutman. And then, people were already recognizing me for what I did with wrapping hands and working cuts. And Dave Rooney locked it in when he started calling me Stitch. So that's both during that era. And during that era, I'll never forget, there was a fight in Richmond, California. Marvis Frazier was fighting Bone Crusher Smith, and on the undercard, the cut man did a good job. So I went and asked him, "Oh, I said, look, I'm trying to learn to be a cutman. Can you tell me what you did? And he looks at me and says, F you. He says, I'm taking this to my grave, and you got to learn like me. And he walked away. I felt about
Wow.
this, brother, I felt about this big, right? And but that was during that era.
Yeah.
So, the trials and tribulations, then understanding the history of the cutman from that era and in the past is to them, they all thought it was a secret and that they were going to take it to their grave. And he kind of put me in check, but it put me in the right direction because I said I'd never be like this guy.
So, I mean, did you end up learning from someone, or did you just learn everything on the job, Stitch?
Yeah, everything had to be on the job. I'm telling you,
Wow.
you would be in the dressing room and you'd kind of speak, look at some guys and try to steal some of their patterns and understanding. But yeah, there was really nobody that would sit there and sit down with you and show you what they did with wrapping hands and what have you not. So I learned how to wrap hands by wrapping my own hands. I looked at other guys, the formula, which way does it go? You go between, you get the knuckles, the thumb, and, so those basic things. But then I started wrapping my own hands and getting the right tension and the right pressure and understanding, what areas had to be protected, the knuckles, the metacarpals, the wrist, the thumb, all those areas. I started doing that because I felt the pressures, and that's how I ended up learning how to wrap hands.
I mean, you're kind of, geeking me out here a little bit. You're talking about Bone Crusher Smith, Dennis Alessio. I mean, there's so much experience and knowledge you're dropping, Stitch. And it's awesome that you bring up the hand wraps, because that's kind of where I kind of wanted to segue into as well when you gave me that story about that guy not wanting to give you secrets, because I feel like that's another thing that people don't like to share with others is how to wrap hands. I mean, that's like a really low key kind of thing. People don't like to share that. Am I right?
Yeah, it's now that I understand the game, right? It's kind of funny because, especially more in boxing, right? MMA guys have really learned they follow the format that we use, and they don't mind sharing. The guys in boxing still thinks it's a secret, and the thing about it, they think they're the baddest dudes in the world. But I look at these guys and they're trying to give information to somebody, and the information that they're giving them is not the right information. So the thing with being a cut man or being a trainer in combat sports at the A level is anybody could do it. All that's required is a license, and you're a professional trainer, or professional cut man. Every other major sport, these guys have to be certified. Shit, none of us have to be certified. There's so many myths in boxing, especially when it comes to wrapping hands, working cuts, and all that. So I've seen it.
I
I
hear
had
you.
one. Let me add real quick, man.
Yeah.
I had one time. I got a shitload of stories, bro.
I love them.
I
I love them.
well, listen to this one, man. So I go to New York, where Madison Square Garden, Vladimir Klitschko's fighting, and I can't remember who he's fighting, but I'm working with one of the Klitschko fighters, one of the earlier cards. So I get into the dressing room before Klitschko